So welcome to Innovation Guelph presents Toolkit Tuesday. Today's session on Instagram for Business is part of a series that we've been running on social media. It's tips and lessons for businesses. And that anytime today, if you guys have questions, please write them in the chat box below. That is your big instruction for today. So if you have any questions, Tim's going to get to as many of them as possible. So please write them in the chat box below. So I am Mickey Campo. I'm a program manager at Innovation Guelph. And I'm so happy that you all have decided to join us for this Action Field Lunch and Learn. Before jumping in, I would love to take a minute to thank our sponsors. So ISU Software Corporation, Morexis, OKR Financial, Reese Informatica, Invest in Guelph, and BDO. We're so very grateful for their generosity and support in everything that we do. So there's quite a few people on the call today. I'd like to just briefly introduce Innovation Guelph to you. Well, many of you are clients and mentors and partners and supporters of IG already. You know who we are and what we do, but there are a few of you on the call that might not know too much about us. So I'll be quick. Basically, Innovation Guelph is one of 17 regional innovation centers in Ontario, and we serve the region of Southern Ontario and have recently brought on a national program. So what that means is that we work with companies of all sizes from all over Guelph, Wellington, Southern Ontario, and actually have clients in BC all the way to Nova Scotia. So most of our clients are relatively close by though, and we are very proud of the work we do with our clients, the support and the guidance that we're able to offer throughout multiple stages of business and sectors. In fact, just a little kind of interesting note, we are actually award winners. In the last year, we have been awarded 3 different awards for the support that we give to entrepreneurs and businesses, just like you guys have. So won't talk about it too much. You guys can check it out online. If you wanted to hear about them, please visit our website. I just wanted to let you know about it because we're pretty proud about it. So I just wanted to let you know. We'll also be celebrating our 10th year anniversary in 2021. And we look forward to what's coming next because there's always exciting things going on at IG. And speaking of exciting, today's session on Instagram for Business. So today's session is presented by Tim Campbell-Smith, and with attendance and feedback that we've been getting on Tim's session so far, I'm not sure much of an intro is needed, but here goes. So Tim Campbell-Smith is so extroverted, they put the social back in social media. Tim is a credentialed small business consultant and social media marketer. They've published 3 books in the areas of marketing, business growth, and social enterprises, and continue to better themselves while working with clients around North America. And more importantly, Tim's proven to be a really fun, on point, honest, and excitable person to be doing these sessions. It's so fun to sit in on these. And, Tim has so many lessons to share, and I really feel that you will all learn something, probably many things today. And you're going to get the most out of it if you participate. So that's my big thing here today. Please participate in this call. If you have questions, write them in the chat box. We'll get to them. But do have your phone nearby, have your tablet nearby, get ready to post a selfie, take a selfie, do some work, because that's what today is all about. I'm going to pass it over to Tim now. Over to you, Tim.
Oh, thank you, Mickey. Thank you, friends, so much for joining us. After I hear that intro, I'm like, who is that celebrity? I want to meet them. So thank you so much here. Bear with me here just while I get set up and share my screen here because I've got another presentation as well. So big thing I want to know, and please put this in the chat box now, is what you're really hoping to learn today. If there's anything where you're, oh my gosh, I really hope Tim touches on this, put in that chat box, let us know so I can make sure to touch on it. Sure, I've got some things to talk about, but this is all about you and making sure that you get the information you need that really serves you. And talking about Instagram. So put in that chat box, what you're hoping to learn today, what you're hoping to cover, kind of a quick high level here for you, what we're going to be kind of going over. Why do we choose Instagram in the first place? This is a really standard question we ask in social media marketing. why should we use this platform? Why should we use one platform instead of another? Does this make sense in the suite? We're going to kind of tackle that. Then we're going to tackle platform navigation. And there's kind of a special caveat. Actually, I'm going to warn you about it right now. Instagram is designed for mobile. So heads up, if you're trying to look at some of the features or follow along on a computer, you're not going to see everything that I talk about today. So if possible, have a mobile device. Or my understanding is that this presentation is being recorded. So you can watch the recording and kind of watch it, play with it on your phone. Otherwise, have your mobile handy so that you can kind of reference what I'm talking about, what we're looking at. We'll do that in platform navigation. Then we're going to get to the meat and potatoes, or for the vegetarians like me, kind of the tofu and potatoes, I guess. Let me know. But we're going to talk about really optimizing your Instagram, really making it rock and getting it set up. And then we're going to just move right into posting best practices. We're going to talk about engagement, because let me tell you, friends, it is not all about posting. That is not how you become the most popular person at the party. We're going to touch very, very briefly on ads and boosts. And I am just going to add a quick caveat, and I'm sorry to be this person, but this is not a session about ads and boosting posts. So if it were, we could be here for hours and hours and hours, but we've got to keep that short. And then finally, we're going to finish up with some Q&A. And part of the Q&A, something I know talking to folks in preparation for the session, there are some questions about logistics and the technicalities of doing Instagram stories. So we're going to kind of go through all your opportunities and the possibilities on stories and kind of cover that. Sounds good, friends? Perfect. I'm actually just going to tap Jordan on the shoulder here quick and ask what has come up in the chat box. What are we hoping people are really hoping we cover today?
Absolutely. Let me scroll back a little bit. So we are hoping to learn about how to increase our following, building brand awareness. If you, Tim, have any experience with Instagram for
I'll jump in.
Or
I'll jump in here. If you have any experience with the Insta shopping store,
using Instagram as an online store, how IG can build on.
Jordan, you left us for a minute.
Sorry.
Okay, so that was any experience using Insta shopping in store, how Instagram can build online sales, learning about carousel and reel, and that's reel, REEL.
Yeah.
I'd love to learn more about getting Instagram strategically to help people get to know and learn about your business. Is there one thing to post something to it is one thing to post something to Instagram, but it's more important to actually get in front of the designated audience. So how do you do that? And then there's a big hi, Tim. And then hoping to find out how to translate profile visits into website clicks and the easiest ways to promote online sales. Using Instagram to drive traffic to the website and grow a following faster. So that's kind of off the top what people have been asking for.
Perfect. Thank you, friends. I always love hearing ideas and hopes that are totally in the wheelhouse and within the plan. And I made sure to write down a couple just so I know we touch on them. So in that case, I'm going to go real quick through this. Why do we use Instagram in the first place? We use it to get in front of typically younger audiences. Younger, 16 to 35 is the largest demographic. That said, don't be throwing out other people. 45 to 55 is the fastest growing demographic. So they are the largest group of people who are joining en masse every single day. So don't think it's just for that younger group. Instagram has a visual appeal, and Mickey has said it actually really beautifully and succinctly. This is a visual-based platform. It is all about the pictures and the videos. So my challenge to you, and if nothing else, friends, if nothing else you hear from me today, I want you to hear this. In every moment in your business, look around you, literally look, have the people look and go, can this show up on Instagram? How could this show up on Instagram? because there are a million visual moments. Trust, I have worked with enough businesses. I have seen enough Instagram posts to see everything posted on the gram, as the kids call it, as I understand. So everything is possible. But look, what is visually available to you for Instagram? Instagram, what I love about Instagram and why I recommend this in the portfolio of digital platforms though, is that it is, I find it easier to grow a brand on Instagram than almost any other platform. Now, TikTok is giving this claim a run for its money. TikTok is super cool and we could tackle that another day, but Instagram is great for really growing your brand and seeing the numbers behind it. And what I love about Instagram is how it integrates so well with shopping, Eventbrite, Facebook, like, and other platforms. So super, super handy, super cool to have. The big thing here though is think about your brand visually, think about your business visually, and know that every business can be represented visually. Now, let's just kind of quickly make sure we're all on the same page. We're going to kind of navigate through the platform and just make sure that we're all speaking the same language. We know what we're talking about. Couple notes on navigation. And like I said before, there's limited functionality on desktop. So this is where you've got to bust out your mobile phone. You've got to follow along on mobile. Also check your version. Today, I am working off the newest version of Instagram. There have been some updates in the last month or so, and I'm personally on iOS, so I'm using an Apple device. I understand that it's a little different, but not too much, not terribly noticeably versus Android. So to my Android friends, I'm so sorry. It's not gonna look exact, but it's basically gonna be there. So I kind of just want to highlight a few things and identify just like what are we looking at for anybody who is uncertain or uncomfortable or just kind of new to the platform, which is totally fair. On the left here, I have the home screen. So when you just log in from home, you're on the base, this is what you're going to see. Versus on the right here, this is your profile. You know that it's your profile because your name is at the top. So also, hey, if you want to follow me, great. Make sure you also follow Innovation Guelph. They're a pretty cool bunch. I'm a little biased though, but they're cool. So I have home on the left. I have a profile on the right. Here's the big way that I know though, if I'm home or on my profile. See here, home is black versus on my profile here, just gonna move this here, you can see that it's, there's nothing else that's black and dark, and this is circled. So that's how I know I'm on my profile. Up at the top, these are stories from the homepage. These are our stories. Quick definition and difference. What is this Instagram story? What is an Instagram post? They are different. Instagram posts live forever. They show up on the newsfeed. Instagram stories are the little circles. They're, you know, at the top of the homepage. When you scroll through, you also see, you'll see suggestions for stories. Stories are content that disappear within 24 hours. You know, it's there, it's kind of got that immediacy, that urgency. It was created in competition with Snapchat, if anybody's familiar with Snapchat, but those are stories. Stories are, so stories live in those circles at the top. You can tell someone has a story if they're circled like this and they're at the top there, otherwise they don't. Up here, this little plus button, this comes with the newest update. This used to be down below, but now it's up here. This is where you would click to add, to do a post, to do a story, something like that, or a reel. We're gonna talk about those. Here we also have direct messages, so you can DM people, and I'm gonna use the two terms interchangeably, DM or direct message. They're the exact same thing. They are private messages between people. Here we then have posts. So Ten Carden, if anybody's familiar with them, downtown Guelph, this is their post. Couple parts here. The heart here means you can like it, you know, just like Facebook, just like any other social media platform. You can like posts, you can comment on them. That's what the little speech bubble is. This little airplane is to send it, so you can actually add the post. Actually, as of today, you can still add posts to your stories, or you can send it to a friend. So, you know, I see this event and I go, oh, I think my friend Zoe would really appreciate seeing this. I can send the post directly to her. There's also any of the copy or anything written with the post. and away you go. Only other thing that I included here as well for illustrative purposes, and it's the nature of the beast, are ads. Ads exist on social media platforms. So far, so good? Beautiful. So then I'm gonna just shift over here. So this is your profile. Please note, what you see of your profile is not what everyone else sees of profiles. You are getting a snapshot on the back end. Like if this was your profile, this is what you'd see. So you could see, you get the options to edit profile, your promotions, your insights, and your contact. Other people don't get to see that, only you get to see that. But you know it's you because, again, your name is at the top. It's all about you here. You have your options. A couple other things here. This is your bio. So whenever you hear me refer to a bio, that's what this is. The one clickable link we get on Instagram, and we'll talk about that when we get to posts. And then these are highlights. So quick caveat. So you know how I told you stories disappear within 24 hours? Well, there's a catch. You can actually cheat the system and have them survive forever like regular posts if you put them in a highlight. And we're going to talk about that when we get to profile optimization. And then you have your posts. So the little grid here, these are your posts. This little TV icon, this is IGTV. IGTV, people kind of blow it out of proportion. Like, what does that even mean? IGTV just means videos that are longer than 1 minute. So if you ever post a video longer than 1 minute, you can have it live on the newsfeed, but you can also have it live here. And then the final section is tagged. So if you're ever tagged in photos, that's where those live. Make sense? Perfect. So let's turn our navigation to one more thing, and this is something I nerd out about. And again, I'm gonna apologize because I'm gonna be super brief. We only have an hour today, but this is something I nerd out for so hard, which is insights and analytics and data. So to get here from your profile, there's gonna be a button that says Insights, click it. Please note, insights are not available on desktop. So you will not be able to access this on a computer. You have to do this on mobile. But when you pull it up, this is the base that you get. And I want you to make one change here. Up here on my presentation, you'll see I have last 30 days. Instagram defaults and actually only shows you 7 days. You have to click on that and say last 30 days. I think I like more data. As a marketer, I like more data. Data-informed decisions. So I always choose the 30 days so that I can see a bigger range. And then each of these is actually clickable. So you can click on accounts reached, you can click on content interactions, you can click on total followers, and you get a further breakdown. Or you can just go with this high-level summary. So when I click accounts reached, this one is the followers. So when I click on total followers, these are the first things that I get to see. You can see how many people follow you and unfollow you. You can see the locations. What you can't see, I haven't included this screenshot, but if you scroll down on this page, you'd see the gender breakdown of your followers, and you'd see when they are most active. So let me tackle a question, I don't think that's been asked yet, but some people ask, Tim, when is the best time to post? Well, I have another answer and we'll talk about it, but right now, if you need a data-informed decision, look at your analytics. Look at when Instagram tells you your followers are most active. It gives you 3-hour windows. Absolutely use that. We keep going, and here's the other 2 screens if you go based on content or, oh, I've got the follower twice, but content interactions are there. Okay, perfect. So you can see content, how many people are liking, how are they engaging, what does that look like? But also know that you can do this on individual posts. Here's the other thing with analytics, and this is backing out of that Insights tab. You can pull up any post, and if you swipe up, so you click, you'll always see the blue View Insights button. You'll see that for every single post. Click View Insights and swipe up your screen, and you get an expanded view. You can see the analytics for each individual post. Cool, huh? For anybody else who's into data like me. That's the fastest overview of the platform I think I've ever done. So far, so good. Nods, shakes, maybe some. Okay, Perfect. Let's get to why we all really came here. Let's learn a thing or two about like kicking this into gear and making this worth our while. Platform optimization. I'm going to start with profiles, and I pulled up a couple of our friends from Innovation Guelph because they make excellent case studies and talk about why I think they're optimized, why I think they're ready to go. So Shop Bee Bags here. What I loved about this, I love these branded highlights. So when you put an Instagram story, when you want it to survive past 24 hours, you can put it into a highlight, but you can create a unique image for each highlight. And I love that both A Million Elephants here and Shop Bee Bags branded them. So they all look similar. They all look like they belong. I love that. I highly recommend it. Shop Bee Bags. You know what I really love about this is they just wrote it out. They just said, here's what we do. Biodegradable beeswax bags. I also love emojis in the bio if it's on brand for you. I understand some brands are maybe a little more conservative. They're a little more professional focused. So we can't always use emojis, but if possible, I recommend emojis in your bio. Especially, I actually like it the way A Million Elephants is done here, left flushed, because we know, marketing is nothing more than, psychology. And we know that the brain processes visuals faster than text. So the emoji kind of gives context clues and gives us ideas, but it also gives us an emotional feeling and an emotional response right away. So that's why I love emojis at the beginning of each line on a bio. I like both styles. This is a stylistic choice, but you can write full sentences here like Shop Bee Bags has, or like A Million Elephants and just do like a list form. Mine is personally a list format like this and it works. One thing about optimizing your profile that I want to recommend is a specific landing page. Shop Bee Bags didn't do this, but A Million Elephants did, and I like this. You only get one clickable link on Instagram. You may notice that when you do a post, if you put in a link, it doesn't become clickable. It's inaccessible on mobile, which is where we're using Instagram. On desktop, you would have to copy and paste it. So you have to make your one clickable link count. I always say put it to a very specific page. So here they have like one thing they're directing traffic to. Awesome. If you're focusing on selling a certain product and it's one product, make the page where it describes the product and where you can buy the product, that's your link. If you want people to donate to your cause or subscribe to your newsletter or whatever you want them to do, that one page should be your clickable link in your bio. So just a heads up on that. That said, these are all examples. Let me give you the actual checklist for what I think makes and what makes for a great bio and makes for a great setup. You have an interesting bio. I recommend at least one sentence that says what you do, one sentence that's or one point that's just a fun fact about you. I think mine says social media marketer, sassy, nerdy, and very gay. Because that's kind of fun. People kind of get a chuckle out of it. So I put that in. And then I have a call to action or the description of, the call to action, description of what you do, description of the link. So, this link is what? And then your unique link is important. The only thing I'm missing off of here is branded highlights. That's the other really awesome thing I look for.
Hey, Tim.
Yeah.
Can I jump in with just a couple questions?
Yeah.
We'll go back and ask some of the other ones, but specifically a couple things based on what you're talking about right now. How do you add those custom buttons? And what about link trees?
Oh, okay. Sorry, custom buttons. Do you mean like the custom branded highlight? Okay, so I'm gonna apologize, friends, because this is a little technical and a little outside the scope, but you have to create that yourself. I know most people who do this use Canva. If anybody's familiar with Canva, and if you're not, it's canva.com. It's like a graphic design platform for non-graphic designers, which is me. Tell me if that's you as well, friends. I know folks create it with Canva. What I personally did was I just made sure to use an on-brand picture, and I just made it that so that you could see me, you could kind of see something that alluded to the detail. How to do it is just you have to have the Instagram story first, and you have to post it and say, you post the story. When you view the story again, there's an option that says highlight. So you either create the highlight or put it in to another highlight. Once you've done that, you go to your profile, press and hold your finger on the highlight, and a menu comes up and it says edit highlight. And that's where you can add the custom image. A little technical, there's a step-by-step. If you need help, let me know after at the very end, or watch the playback of this video and follow the instructions. That's how you do it. Linktree, I hate Linktree, and I'm very public about it, and I will say why. So we know in sales and marketing that for every single step you require someone to take, you lose people along the way. They will not click through, they will actually either X out or they will go back. So we know, so asking people to click and go to Linktree is one step. Being on that Linktree page and going to another page is another step. So there's 2 points where we're going to lose people, and Linktree, both of those steps. Why wouldn't you create your own page on your website so that the possibility exists that you lose people on your website and not someone else's website? So I say create your own page, create your own, almost like, look it up like a Linktree page. For anyone who doesn't know, actually, let me back up. For anyone who doesn't know Linktree and what this is, Linktree is a service that you create like a web page. It's your one clickable link. Boop, you go to it, and it's got then a bunch of different tabs and options. So it's like your one link becomes many links. But don't be giving your money and your followers to somebody else. Put it on your own page. If you want an example of it, look at, I don't know if Innovation Guelph has it. I have it on mine. So click the link on mine and from desktop or mobile, and you can see what I'm talking about and what it looks like. But no Linktree, create your own. And that's the branded highlights. Other questions? I'm going to open the floor for a few questions here for a couple minutes.
Jordan, are you jumping in?
Yeah, sorry.
Wait for it.
If we're going back a little bit, so these are questions that popped up, Tim, after we opened the floor for everyone to just suggest what they'd like to learn today. So these came afterwards. So Saskia was wondering what third-party apps are good for managing a client's Instagram, especially to control from desktop, since we know that Instagram is largely mobile. So if there's anything you can suggest there. Right above that, Brian suggested you can improve usability on desktop by using developer tools such as Chrome to flip back and forth. But what would you say there?
Facebook Creator Studio. We know third-party apps, especially like Hootsuite, Buffer, Sprout Social, are kind of industry standard ones. There's not a lot of research around it, but every social media manager I talk to, we all know it. There is a noticeable difference in reach and engagement when you schedule posts or look at analytics or do anything with Facebook Creator Studio versus any other platform. Almost every other social media manager I know has moved over managing and running Facebook and Instagram, especially Instagram, because yes, it allows us to do it from desktop, to Facebook Creator Studio. It's Facebook's native tool. They're trying to get more money out of that. And yeah, so they're giving preference to it and kind of harming their reach and engagement. We don't have official sources on that, but between two groups I'm a part of and 40,000 social media managers, considering we all agree, I'm kind of in favor of that data. So great question.
Thank you. Kathy's wondering, do you recommend exporting your analytics every 30 days then, since you can view it in a maximum snapshot of 30 days?
Yes, but only if it's not too much make work. I'm very acutely aware of the fact that social media is a very tiny part of marketing, which is a tiny part of your business, which is a tiny part of your life, which is a tiny part of your community. So exporting data, and especially if it's probably not just going to be Instagram, you're probably more likely to do this for other platforms. That's a lot of work. I say, if anything, if you want to, sure, great. Data-informed decisions are always the best. It's great to see trends. My big thing, and where I want to know data, especially on Instagram, is just what posts performed best and what are the commonalities among them. So just to keep an eye on the strong performing posts so that you don't have to do a total make work project. But if you want to, go for it. Yeah.
Cool, thank you. Should brands be using a color template or other design? I know you sort of touched on this when you were talking about the highlights and what is popular these days with like the look.
Oh, yeah. I am a fan of cohesion when it comes to brand. That said, it's an art form. It's an art. It's more art than science. So I'm not going to tell you it has to be through colors. It can be through photography and image choice. It can be through style of wording. So color is one way to be cohesive in your brand. Yes, go for it. I'm sure some branding folks on this call would shoot me for saying this, but from my perspective, yes, you can, and I think it is a cool idea, but it's not the only way to ensure cohesion. Trends in terms of colors. I'm not totally aware of any like trends or any like colors or color schemes that are awesome. I did though, and this is like an absurd fact, and I can track it down and share it with anyone who's interested. I did just read an article on 2021 design trends and what's kind of coming down the pipeline in terms of design. And a couple references that were more to colors was muted palettes are kind of popular and kind of making a comeback, but also muted palettes against like really bold and strong colors, as well as a few designers said, I think they described it as like futuristic retro pop. If that can give you some kind of color palette to play with, is kind of making a comeback, and that's kind of where it's going. But that's just total speculation at this point. So play with it, have fun with your colors, I guess is what I'm really saying.
Good to know. Thank you. Do you recommend watermarks on photos?
That's a really good question. No. I have to think about this for a second. I'm going to say no because one of my go-to problem-solving techniques is like, how does this work at scale? Do you see this happen at scale, at really, really tiny scale, but also at really, really large scale? And when I think of really big celebrities and big names and big brands, they don't watermark their images. So I'm going to say no. Also, watermarking images is kind of a way of kind of just trying to like really forcibly get your brand name out there. And people don't want brand names with their social media content. They want just good content, good relatable content. So no, you don't have to, no, don't watermark your images. Good.
Awesome. Thank you. I have a question about stories, which I'm pretty sure we touched on in our Facebook session. There's no way to pre-schedule Instagram stories, is there?
Not yet, but apparently Instagram, and I kind of wanted this as a Christmas gift, but apparently Facebook Creator Studio will at some point in the future allow us to schedule stories. So stay tuned, it's coming.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'm going to say one more question and then we're going to keep going.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, if anyone else's questions after we're all done aren't answered, please remind us, but Tim will try to get to those that we talked about earlier. So our last question for right now then is, we think about social media, I think in terms of connecting with people that we may not have previously connected with. So our question here is, how do we get our loyal customers who we already have a relationship with to engage with us on social media?
Oh God, I'd need another 3 hours on that one. Here's a couple of my go-to favorite ways. If you have a physical location for your business, make sure that there are posters or signs around saying, make sure to follow us on social media. 1. 2, have staff every time they interact with customers or your current consumers, ask, do you follow us on social media? And make a suggestion. 3, in your email signature, make sure your social media links are there. 4, on social media channels where you can, encourage people to follow you on other channels where possible. 5, if you can, or if there's a way that you can track down who your customers are, follow them first and encourage them to follow you back. 6, and I'll stop here, but you can run ads, especially on Facebook and Instagram, just to your current audience. But you can also, if you have their emails, you can upload email lists and run ads just to them. So you can encourage them to follow you on social media. Those are my top 6. I could keep going, but I'll stop there.
Great, thank you.
Great questions, friends. Okay, continuing along here, let's talk about posting best practices. Every single post, and right now I'm just talking about in the newsfeed, every single post you do should have these things included. So it should have the location listed, you should have interesting copy, so a caption, and that can be short, that can be long. We're gonna see kind of a little bit of examples of both, but interesting copy, the kind of golden rule with Instagram and with our posts is that the media, you know, the picture or the carousel or the reel, that should stop us from scrolling. That should be interesting. But the copy, what you write with it, should engage us. So interesting copy, interesting media, hashtags to increase discoverability. And we're going to kind of get into the weeds of hashtags in a quick moment. And tags, if there is someone else in the photo, or if there's another business or another brand in the photo, tag them, because you get in front of their audience and they're more likely to show it and engage. So a couple examples, again, from our friend, from Innovation Guelph friends here. So A Million Elephants here. I love this product photo. I love that it involves a person. A big thing that I say is with whatever your product or services are, show people engaging with it. Not just the product itself, but show people with it. So I love this picture. It's just a stunning photo. But you can also see they listed here Toronto. They have a question here. Here they go. They tag their person and they have their hashtags. That is a winning post in my books. This one I love, Abakichi Life. Also delicious products. Y'all should check them out. They're a friend of Innovation Guelph. This was an interesting photo. I just love interesting photography. I think people gravitate towards art, so this is just interesting to look at. Again, they listed their location. What's also really cool, and I want to touch on that, how do we get in front of new audiences? Neither of these businesses are actually listed in the cities where they named here, but we can list cities that we're not in, so that we can be found in those areas. Same thing with these hashtags. If you use location-based hashtags, audience-based hashtags, which I'll explain in a moment, you can get in front of new audiences. You can get in front of new people. Here, I also love that there are 2 hashtag strategies. So A Million Elephants just used a couple or a few, succinct, away you go. Abakichi Life, they used as many as possible. And we'll go into those best practices in a bit, but totally possible there. Here are 2 examples of excellent posts, and there's more. There's definitely more. You know, we could have shown a carousel and a reel and an IGTV, but for a base, these are great posts. Now we have talked about hashtags. Oh, sorry, one more. These are great Instagram posts. Quickly, just highlighting these. There is some text here. This is a shared post. Something you can do in stories, and you'll see this at the end in the Q&A, is you can actually add the location and the hashtag and kind of hide them so that people don't see them. So and because I know the person who shared this, whose account this came from, I know that they put a hashtag and a location under here. Same thing here with this image. We have something interesting to look at. We have the text. We know that the location and the hashtags are under there. Great examples. Hashtags, quick primer, just to make sure that we're all on the same page, because also hashtags are something that people tend to think we know about, but we don't always totally. Hashtags increase discoverability and should be user-centric. Translation, friends, go easy on the custom hashtags. People think, oh, Tim, I put in my 30 hashtags and I look them up and they have 2 uses, 4 uses. You are the only one who's using them. Well, that's not what people are searching for, right? We want to use hashtags that people actually engage with. And here's what we also know. Hashtags break down into 3 categories. People engage with hashtags of locations, where they are, where they want to go, or where they have gone, or maybe where they travel within. Those are location-specific hashtags, like hashtag Guelph, hashtag Toronto. 2, we know people engage with hashtags that they can identify with. Hashtag mompreneur, hashtag gay guy. So we have audience-specific hashtags. And then finally, we have topic-specific. So people will look at hashtags and look at posts based on topics that they're interested in. Hashtag cashmere fashion, hashtag sustainable food, that kind of thing. Here's your challenge, friends. You are allowed, oh, sorry, one more caveat that's not on here. Each Instagram post is allowed up to 30 hashtags per post. Each story is allowed up to 10. That said, I've never seen an Instagram story trend for more than 2, so I wouldn't say go more than 2. But you have those limits, so you can play with them. You can post your up to 30 hashtags if you want, and we saw this with Abikichi here. They did a lot of hashtags, which is great. That's increasing discoverability. What you can't really see here, but it kind of alluded to, is like they distanced the hashtags from the rest of the post. So it's not like all in one and you're like, oh wow, there's a lot to look at. No, it's separate. But they use their hashtags. And I thought that was really, really smart. Your challenge here, friends, though, is to use all 3 for every single post. Location specific to get in front of the geographic areas you want to be found, audience specific to get found by the people you want to get found by, and topic specific. Every post, every set of hashtags should include all 3 categories. Hashtags. Now, so far, we've just talked about posting. But let's talk about something very near and dear to my heart, which is engagement, which is super, super important. If you go to a party, how do you become the most popular person at the party? Well, I'll tell you, friends, because trust me, I've tried. It's not walking in, talking about yourself for 10 minutes and walking out. That's not how you become popular. You become popular engaging with people, talking to them, making connections, asking questions. The same thing applies on social media. So what does engagement actually mean? What does that look like? That is liking, that's following, commenting, sharing, and DMing people. Engagement should absolutely be a part of your strategy. If you're just posting, your social media is not social, and you're just a brand talking at people. And who wants that? So make sure to engage. I've also seen time and time again, when you dedicate just a little bit of time to comment on a couple of posts of your followers, of other followers, of new people, follow a couple people, this drives up your follower count, this drives up your engagement, this drives up your numbers. Base fact we know about Instagram: engagement attracts engagement. When you engage with other people engage with you. When people engage with you and you engage with them, it attracts more engagement. Please, for the love of all that is good and holy, have an engagement strategy with your Instagram. So far, so good? This is like a sprinted marathon. It's a lot of information. We're almost there before we just dive into questions and answers, quandaries, queries. Ads and boosts. Here's why we have to talk about ads and boosts. We know organic reach, which is kind of a fancy term for just saying when you post something on its own, how many people will see it? That is organic reach. How many people will see it? We know that number is at an all-time low. But a way that we can circumnavigate that, we can get around it, is with ads, with boosting posts. There used to be a time when we said boosting posts is not a good idea. It's not handy. And that is totally true. But Facebook and Instagram, especially this year, have really stepped up the capability and the power of what you can do with a boost. The only thing is that an ad you fully create from the ground up. Boosts, you have to take a post that you already have and then use that to put that in front of audiences. But both options are possible and both are plausible. So a couple notes on ads and boosts. You can run ads just like on Facebook, but you must be connected to a Facebook page. So you can't be a free-floating Instagram account. You've got to be connected to a Facebook page. And your account either has to be set up as Instagram for business or Instagram as creator. You can't be just a regular account. So heads up on that. Ads have way deeper opportunities and capabilities. The things you can target and the people you can put in front of, the retargeting, the pixel, oh my God, it gets exciting, but it's huge. It's a lot. Boosts are a fantastic, like short-term, small scale, just like it says here, strategy. The biggest thing I found with my clients when a strategy that we use is, I call it frequent micro boosting. So almost every post or every other post will put $5 behind, $10 behind, super tiny amounts. Engagement goes through the roof, likes and comments, shares, and click-throughs to websites. When you boost a post on Instagram, you can direct people to your website, you can direct them to your profile, or you can direct them to send you a message. Super cool, super possible. Love them both. Love them both as different strategies. I do not recommend that anyone make a long-term strategy and a huge scale strategy of just boosting, but I also recommend you don't just rely on the power of ads. You've got to kind of foster your audience and foster and grow some warmth towards the people closest to you. So there's a difference between those boosts and those ads. Play with both. The only other thing I'm going to say, and this is probably the most important that I can say, is to be specific in your ads and your parameters. So you can qualify, like, who do I want to show my ad to? What types of people? Be specific. Be specific. I cannot say this enough. The biggest reason why I see people not succeed with ads is because I look at their qualifiers, their parameters, and like, this is all over the place. You're trying to appeal to way too many people with one thing. So be specific. This has got to be the fastest crash course I've ever done in Instagram. So I'm going to open up the floor for questions and ideas. Before we do that, though, I am just going to show you a quick video. I'm going to warn you, just like everything else in this presentation, this video is going to go by so fast. But this is a quick walkthrough and kind of what Instagram stories look like. And you can see all the possibilities and all the capabilities. If this moves too fast or you have questions, let me know. We can certainly field the inner questions here, or you can just watch the video back and see all your options. But basically, this video is going to show you all the capabilities with posting to stories.
Jen, this is highly entertaining. There we go. So that's your crash course there in stories, really, really quick. That said, I'm going to open up the floor now for questions. I find this is also a really important time, just like walking through, and we can reference anything we've talked about in our presentation. So actually, I'm going to tap on Jordan here for a moment just to field the previous questions, and then we can move forward with it.
Okay, I don't think I'm going to get my video to work, but I'm here. And let me just circle back with some of the questions that we had asked. Okay, So we had a couple questions after hashtags, Tim. And the first one being, what would you say about the difference between having the hashtags in the caption or in the comments of a post?
I'm also very vocal about this. Research shows, experience shows that posts perform better when the hashtags are in the body of the post, not in the first comment. This is why, though, I recommend the strategy of kind of spacing out the post to keep it separate from the hashtags so that they don't all become like garbled up and all together. Separate them out with spaces or with dots or whatever. There's a million different ways to space them out, but hashtags in the body of the post, not the comment. Great question.
Awesome, thank you. We had the second question you answered there already about keeping space between, so you answered 2 questions there. How would you find the most popular hashtags for a specific area? So let's say Toronto. How would I go about before I use them to find about which ones I'd like to use?
Ooh, okay. So location specific is actually easier. So when you're on Instagram, if you click that little search icon, you can click to search. Your search breaks down into different categories. And I'm actually on mobile here. You can see top. What are the top posts for whatever you search for? What are the accounts associated with something you search for? What are the hashtags and what are the places? So I would search out the location for Toronto, for example, and just go through both top posts and recent and see what hashtags they use. The other thing I would do is I see time and time again, people will use like hashtags. So search out just hashtag Toronto or hashtag like mompreneur or whatever you're thinking about and see if people add on any other hashtags that are like it or similar to it. It is a little bit of research, so it will take a few minutes to kind of go down this rabbit hole, but kind of click and play to find them. You'll find people kind of tell you just by the like hashtags they use. That's how I find similar hashtags, both for locations, topics, or audience. Great question.
Awesome, thank you. So Kathy asked, do you research a hashtag before using it? So what if you use a hashtag and it brings up other posts that aren't in alignment with your brand? And then we had some collaboration in the chat, and Stacy said, yes, research hashtags. You can see what's popular and troubleshoot for problematic associations, and also look at what other brand leaders are doing. So do you have anything to add there to Stacy's answer?
No, Stacy hit it perfectly. Thank you, Stacy. Recently, I worked with someone who we couldn't figure out, and we're still tackling why hashtags aren't working the way they're supposed to be working. We clicked on one hashtag and Instagram flat out said, we're not showing posts for this because it's associated with misinformation or with bad content. So ever since that, I'm way more meticulous with my hashtags. So just make sure that you're not getting flagged. The only other thing I say search for with your hashtags, you also, if I can confuse everyone a little bit more and thicken the plot a little bit more, I like in my hashtags there to be a variety of like number of uses. So I like using hashtag Guelph, for example. It's got, I don't know, a few 100,000 because it contrasts well with hashtags that maybe have 10,000 uses, which contrasts well with hashtags that have over 1 million or over a few million, because you're getting all ranges of discoverability and audience. So that's the only other thing I would look for. But otherwise, Stacy had it right on. Thank you, Stacy.
Great, thank you. How do you make reels with pictures from your album rather than just videos like on TikTok? So on TikTok, we can upload pictures and they will sync really well when we try to make a reel, but sometimes Instagram doesn't cooperate to space them out in the caption.
I don't think you can do reels with just pictures, can you? I always see them with videos, and the intention behind it was always video. Instagram and TikTok, especially in their 2021 strategic plans, have said that the future is video. It's all about video. So I guess I'm a little shocked and surprised. I've never seen a reel that only had pictures. I think it's got to be videos.
Awesome, thank you.
That answer, I feel like I missed maybe half a part of the question there.
I'm not sure. I think you answered it. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, if anything's ever missed, just put in the chat box again and we'll follow up with any questions that go unanswered. But I'll move on to our next one. Can you only share posts to individuals or in stories? If you want to share a post to all of your followers, do you have to use a third-party app, and which one do you recommend?
Hold on. So I want to make sure I get this right. So if there's a post you want to share into your into stories or with your followers, basically, like, how do you do it?
I think so, but Natalina can follow up in the chat box if that's not how we're interpreting it.
Okay. If that's the case, you can, on any post, click that little airplane button and absolutely, to share it, you'd put it into your stories. You can actually send it to individual people. Careful. I don't remember what the number is, but if you send a post to too many users, Instagram flags you for spammy behavior. So so careful with that, but you can share it into your stories. The only other catch, and there is actually a whole catch to this I haven't mentioned. If you see a post from someone with a private account, people can set their accounts to private, which, by the way, no brand. I'm looking at all of you. No brand should be private. If your account is private, please fix that immediately. But if the account is private, then you cannot share the post. Or the only way you can do it is send it to individual people. So heads up, that you've got to make sure the account that you're trying to share from is not private. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. How do you get trending on Instagram? What helps more, liking, commenting, or sharing?
Ooh, so it's actually, I hate to say it has nothing to do with any of those. To get your content trending, you have to post content that garners enough likes and comments compared to others who use either that format, that medium, or the appropriate hashtags or location. So we know it's location specific. It can be dependent on hashtags, but also Instagram is starting to prioritize. There's a few reels, there's a few videos, and then they also prioritize pictures. So you've just got to use the right medium when posting, and you've got to get enough likes and comments versus other people in the category to trend. And even then, trending is, it's not, forever. You get like a finite amount of time because you're in competition with everyone posting all the time. So great question, but I'm sorry, it's a little harder than it seems. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. I'm just circling back to some of the things that we talked about at the very beginning for people hoping to learn. I'm just trying to quickly see if there's anything that I know wasn't answered first, so just bear with me.
While you're looking, someone did ask a question. I realized I didn't talk about it, carousels, and I've got to share this wisdom with you. We know, especially now more than ever, carousels, which is posting more than one picture. It's posting 2 to 10. 10 is the max you're allowed on Instagram. Posting carousels drives up engagement and reach. When possible, share carousels. Carousels are great for storytelling. If you want to share a story visually through multiple photos, do carousels. They're great if you have a big complex idea. For anybody who, if you see me on like my Instagram, I'm trying to I'm giving big tips and a lot of information a lot. So I break it down through carousel posts. Those are 2 big ways you can do it. Carousels, I can't say enough about them. When possible, do carousels. Only other thing with carousels is if you do before and after, which is like some of the original reasons why people used carousels. If ever you're sharing a before and after, always share the after first. You want to share, I know, and it's horrible and it's counterintuitive, but you want to show like the, I'm gonna hate myself for saying this, but the better, the more appealing image first before the before. Because if you show the before, you won't get as much engagement. So if you're doing a before and after, share the after first when it comes to carousels. Awesome. Sorry, I can't fix the internet.
Thank you. I apologize if you touched on this, but maybe we can circle back if you already did. We're hoping to find out how to translate profile visits into website clicks and the easiest way to promote online sales. So how would I kind of know the analytics between those 2?
Yeah, so this is no longer this is a little bit of an Instagram question, but it's more of like an analytics question. There is on your insights, you can actually see for the time frame, the 7 days of the 30, you can see the number of website clicks. that is possible. But you then have to move beyond Instagram. So like, I know the big one that people use is Google Analytics, and look at your website's analytics. Look on your website analytics for how many people come from Instagram. That's where you would find that out. Driving up that number, how do you increase that number? Give people a reason to visit your website. Every post should have some kind of like call to action or something to engage with, like a question or a comment or hey, like buy here, click this. So encourage people to click the link in your bio. Make it easy for them. Tell them what they're clicking. Is the big one. Ads to your profile and ads to your website is another really surefire way to drive up those numbers. Yeah, make it make sense, I guess, is my only other like really big one with this. People often think I can just tell people, go to my website and they will. No, you gotta give us a reason to, and then we will go to the website. Great question. I hope that kind of touches on that and answers that one.
Awesome. Thank you. I personally have a question. So yesterday in the mail, I got some lovely cards that one of my small business friends created for me, and I put them on my story. And I tagged, like I added her on my story, but I went to use that small business feature and that business mention feature that you can add to stories, and it wouldn't let me tag her page.
Yeah, it's that is a setup. They have to set it up. The other thing is if you're doing branded content, there are new rules around branded content that came out, I want to say around May, June. It was just before the summer really hit because of what people were doing to businesses, but also how businesses were getting away with a lot of like spammy behavior. So we can talk about that offline. I'd have to look into their setup, but
Good to know. Good to know. When we comment on posts, so I guess this could also be when you comment and maybe reply to somebody who's commenting on your post, should you add hashtags in your reply?
Ooh, you can, and they will help. How much? I don't think a lot, but you absolutely can add hashtags. Just make sure you're not pushing them over the edge past the 30, because then if anything, the analytics actually decrease, reach and engagement decreases. So yes, you absolutely can. Great question.
Thanks. What would you say are the most popular subjects on IG right now in terms of industry? So food, fashion, beauty, or something else? Or are there trends within each of those industries that you know of?
Ooh, that's a really great question. I have not read like what the top industries are, but the big ones that I see dominating are cosmetics and beauty, interior design and living space. Hobby and lifestyle is really, really huge. Food is making a huge surge onto Instagram, which I'm very happy to see. Food dominated Facebook for a long time, and a little bit of YouTube, but Instagram, like food is doing really well. Yeah, those would be my big go-to industries that I see right now, for sure.
Awesome.
Oh, sorry, one more. Travel, which is so ironic because, you know, the plague, but travel is also really huge. Sorry, I can't believe I forgot that. Apologies.
That's okay. Thank you. Should brands post anything about their products or more non-branded general subject posts? Do people really want to see your product on Instagram?
Oh, okay. Everybody write this down. 80-20. This is a ratio. 80-20. This is the golden rule for how many like salesy posts versus value add posts you should be posting. So 80% or 4 out of every 5 posts should be value add, feel good, fun, interesting, enjoyable to look at. 20% should be the like, here is the product, buy it. Now, that said, you absolutely can have like just a feel good value add that also has the product. I believe it was A Million Elephants that had the scarf. That was an example. They just asked like, who loves scarves? But it was clearly a gorgeous photo, and it had that beautiful scarf that is a product of theirs. So you can kind of straddle the line and play with both, but the golden rule is 80-20. 20% of your posts, or 1 out of every 5, should be asking for the sale. Any more, and perception people tend to perceive it as like a really pushy brand, a brand that's just all about sales, and that's not as enjoyable to look at.
Awesome, thank you. Any advice on giveaways and contests? And then I have a few personal follow-up questions from that as well for some contests that I've seen.
Oh, okay. Number one, don't forget to add the disclaimer. This contest is in no way endorsed or in affiliation with Instagram. You've got to add that because that can get, we've seen that, especially in the last 2 years, you can get into trouble. Two, be specific in what you're trying to achieve with your contest, with your giveaway. Like, are you trying for more followers, more engagement, more sales? Have like one go-to goal, one thing you're working towards. Have that. Only other big thing with contests is I say no more than 2 instructions. I hate seeing contests with 3 or 4 or 5 things you have to do. Tag a friend, follow this people, follow them, put this in your story, comment. Ugh, way too much. 2 things is it. And what I don't want to see as one of your 2 things is tag a friend. That is spammy, that turns off people. Out of all the things that lead to contests doing well, that is not one of them. That is a base tactic to really just get seen by more people, but ugh. So my two go-tos are comment on this post and share this into your stories. And I always put in brackets, make sure to tag us so that we know you're in your stories. Also, on the back end and for brands, that's also so that users can tap on you and follow you. So there's kind of some science to it. But those are my general questions on contests.
Awesome. And you answered both of mine, so that's perfect. Are there any major differences between using IG to promote a service-based business versus product, especially if you're looking to build long-term relationships rather than quick sales?
Oh, yes. Yeah, where do I even start? So services, you tend to have to, the time it takes to build the relationship and to foster the relationship and continue the relationship is a little bit longer. So the sales journey is going to be longer for service providers more so than products. The other thing is that with services, your product, if you will, is you. So we have to really, it's much more of the know, like, and trust factor versus the product. We have to know, like, love, trust the business behind the product. So the product, you're gonna feature people using their product. You're gonna talk more about like, hey, shipping is gonna happen this way, and it's gonna be on this timeline. Because what do we all think about with shipping these days? How fast can I get it? How much am I paying for shipping? So you have to touch on those versus services. You don't have to deal with those, but you have other unique challenges. The biggest difference, though, is that services it's going to take longer to build the relationship. But the beautiful thing is, if you have a really great content strategy, if you are engaging and you're just like being your good old human self, that will actually then just foster relationships as well. And once people do become customers, or when they're closer to becoming a customer, that relationship just gets deeper and deeper because of what you're already doing, which is really, really cool and beautiful. So I hope that answers the question, but that could be a whole topic unto itself, the difference between product and service-based businesses. But, oh, hold on, one more thing. There's space for both. There's absolutely space for both on Instagram. That's my other one.
Awesome, thanks. Are there any reasons not to be on Instagram? Are certain brands and companies that are just business to business, for example, just wasting their time?
Oh, no, business to business works. Definitely does work on Instagram. And personally, as a B2B business, who has made it work and helped other B2Bs make it works. Who shouldn't be on Instagram? I know there are people, I just can't think of who they are. I guess it totally does depend on your target audience. Are you going for younger folks or folks with younger connections? Do they have that kind of buying power? I'm trying to think of brands that I've worked with where I told them not to use Instagram. I did work with a financial planner who only worked with high net worth individuals who had $1 million or more in liquid assets. You had to have $1 million to like write a check and give it to him. So for him, it wasn't as much about Instagram. That was one example. I can't think of too many. If anybody wants to drop their business into the chat box, and I can take a look as well and try and find it, that's a really good question. I think, though, it depends on your business. It also depends on your capacity. Do you have capacity to be on Instagram with your other platforms? So, great. Great question.
Absolutely. Thank you. Do you think it would, I mean, as a follow-up, do you think it would depend on the industry? Is there any industries that come to mind where you're like, okay, I don't know if that makes sense to be on Instagram, or not so much?
Yeah, anything, I'm just going to say this for illustrative purposes, but anything in the adult industry, anything that involves you having to be 18 plus, and I think y'all know what I'm talking about. I think that's a tough one to be on Instagram for. Any industries in particular? Not that I can think of. I'll be totally honest, I have evolved in my thinking. There were some industries where I was like, oh, your industry isn't sexy, it's not fun, you can't really do it on Instagram, which is ironic because I didn't think my industry was fun or sexy, but I've seen other digital marketers rock it. So for example, accountants and financial planners, insurance, mortgage, those kind of things. I was like, I don't know if Instagram can work for you, but I have seen some really amazing accounts on Instagram of accountants and financial planners. So I took that advice back. I'm like, no, there's space for everyone.
Awesome. Thanks. Our next question kind of goes along the lines of what we've been talking over the last couple of months, I think, about kind of setting your target and sticking to it. So how much time should a business plan to spend on IG per week? And then as a follow-up, how many posts or stories per day or week or month? And if that looks different from everyone, how should you kind of schedule your time around that?
Oh, those are very, very big questions. Okay, so how much time should you plan to spend to be on the platform? I can't tell you time because I don't know how long it takes you to how long it takes people to, and everyone's different. How long it takes you to create a post, how long it takes for you to engage. I would say if you can plan to do 3 to 5 posts per week, however long that would take you. And then I would recommend at least 15 minutes a week of just engaging. Please note that is 15 very full minutes of scrolling and liking and commenting and following and sharing, which is a surprisingly long time, but that's the minimum. How often should you be posting? As often as you can, as often as you have capacity for. I think if you have less than 1,000 followers, I wouldn't go more than 1 per day every single day, so no more than 7 per week. But I don't encourage 7 posts in one day either. That's a lot. And that's a lot for your audience. It totally depends. It's also tied to your goals. So I've also seen at almost every scale, if you increase your posting frequency to a certain point, then you will increase engagement, you will increase followers. So 0 to 1,000 followers, if you can aim to post 4 to 7 times a week, that's awesome. 1,000 to 10,000 followers, if you can aim to post somewhere between 8 and 13 times a week, is really great. If you have more than 10,000 followers and you're at influencer status, 2 to 3 times a day is, I would say, the cap.
Awesome. Thank you. Thoughts on services such as Blogspot and Hootsuite?
Oh, love Hootsuite, not for Instagram. I think I've been pretty vocal in my my love for Facebook Creator Studio for Instagram. That said, Hootsuite, I have to admit, in my social media marketing career, I use Hootsuite. I don't use it for Facebook and Instagram, but I use it for every other one. I love their analytics. I love their plugins. They have a lot of options. I also love, and same with HubSpot. HubSpot has a lot of plugins. They're not as big, depending on what you're doing, but in the social media world, not as big. What I do love about HubSpot is they have so many free resources, so many tips and tricks and cheat sheets and suggestions, and they also do a lot of research, so they have a lot of that data. So as a service provider, though, I prefer Hootsuite to HubSpot just because Hootsuite has more available to us.
Okay, thank you. And yeah, somebody just followed up about, Darby says they had a client that proposed that they post every day on Facebook, but they only did 2 to 3 because they weren't sure how many followers that would drive away. But you're saying no more than 1 post a day on each platform, or is that just you should switch your platforms up about what you're using to?
Yeah, definitely switch it up. Like cross-posting is bad. Instagram and Facebook are a little bit different. The Facebook posting frequency is significantly lower than Instagram. Facebook, for most audiences, I would say 2 to 4 times a week, you're more than golden. Organic reach is so low. Excuse me, people are checking in on Facebook way less. You do not have to be as active on Facebook as Instagram. So if you need a time reference, Instagram should be taking more time than Facebook. Also, Facebook gets harder to engage on. So yeah, but posting 2 to 3 times posting every single day, especially on Facebook, that is bananas to me. So great question.
Awesome, thank you. Can you touch on why cross-posting is bad?
Oh, okay. So this is my TED talk, and I'm gonna keep it to under 100 hours. Cross-posting is bad because we know users go from platform to platform, learning about us and making decisions about us, making decisions about to what level they will do business with us, what will they do business with us, do they like us? And if people see the same content at the same time in the same day on different platforms, it reads really poorly for many different reasons. There's perceived laziness, there's perceived ineptitude, like you don't care, like you don't know your audience. But not just that, audiences are different on different platforms. You would never talk to your LinkedIn audience the way you would talk to your Instagram audience. They are very different people. Likewise, your Twitter audience is very different than your Facebook audience. So you would talk to them differently. So you've got to curate those posts for those audiences. They are different groups. And even if it's the same person on Twitter and it's the same person on Facebook, there is, and it's actually becoming better studied, there's this expectation lens. I expect to see different things on Twitter than I do on Facebook. I expect to see different things on Instagram than I do on Facebook. So there's a little bit of that. All of that culminates in the cross-posting, and cross-posting is not the solution. It's easy and it's accessible, but it shouldn't be to businesses. Don't do it. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Awesome, thank you. You mentioned something about 8 to 13 times posting for Instagram. That was only for above 1,000 followers, or what follower range was that
Yes, 1,000 to 10,000. Remember, that's 8 times a week is like 2 posts in one day, and then 1 post every other for the rest of the days. 13 times in a week is posting twice per day every single day, and only once on one day. So also keep some perspective on that. Yeah, that's the 1,000 to 10,000 range.
Awesome, thank you. Denise says their current analytics suggest that they get more traffic from Facebook than Instagram. Do you see that with a lot of clients or people that you speak with, or is that kind of a natural thing, or does that suggest you need to spend more time elsewhere, or what do you think?
Yeah, first things first. Hi, Denise. Second things. So 2 things immediately come to mind when I hear that kind of commentary. 1, is that surprising? I want to know, is that surprising? Is that interesting? Is that what you expect? And 2, are you happy with it, or do you want to improve it? If you're happy with it, great, keep it going. Keep more traffic from one place to another. And if you want to improve it, then great, work to improve it. I will say, especially, and this is maybe just attacking the example too much, Facebook versus Instagram, any platform actually versus Instagram. Instagram, you don't get clickable links in posts. Facebook, you do. Almost every other platform, you get clickable links in the post. So Facebook almost has that like unfair advantage because you can be posting links way more often. You have way more opportunities to drive traffic than you do on Instagram. So a bit of an unfair advantage. But I would just ask, like, are you happy with that, and do you want to change that? Great commentary and great question.
Awesome, thank you. I was going back to the top because we haven't had any other new ones come in. I don't see anything that I think you have gone unanswered. I think we've covered a lot. Oh, we just got a new one. Do you have any suggestions for learning more about IGTV? So any educational resources there that go into more depth?
Yeah, so when it comes to, and this is, I'm gonna kind of apply my blanket advice on like just learning about social media, is follow social media folks. They're on social media. The Instagrammers are really good for being on Instagram. Personally, and actually, let me look this up and make sure I get this right. On Instagram, you know who I love following and who's so informative is Lucas O'Keefe. So I'll put that in the chat box here, at the Lucas O'Keefe. He does great work teaching and educating around, especially Instagram. So he's probably got some stuff on IGTV. You can subscribe to new email newsletters to learn these kind of things. Also, there's some great information on Twitter. If you can find the right folks on Twitter, you can engage there. The only other thing that I have to say with IGTV is like, don't overthink it. Especially like Instagram rolled out IGTV like it was this big to-do and this big hurrah that everyone should take notice of. It's literally just the ability to post videos longer than 1 minute. So remember that IGTV videos are designed to be more vertical than horizontal, and they can be longer than a minute. Just make sure it's really engaging and that actually there's a reason for us to watch longer than a minute, and go for it. Yeah. Great question.
Great. Thank you, Tim. I don't see anything else. Maybe we'll just give it another minute in case anyone is typing, but I don't see any other questions unless anyone wants to.
I'm going to jump in, Jordan, just for a quick second. Is Lucas O'Keefe a comedian? Because there's a few different Lucas O'Keefes.
No, his profile, it's and I think I typed it in right, the Lucas O'Keefe. It should say Lucas Digital Entrepreneur, helping entrepreneurs create.
Okay, there are plenty different ones, but with the is important.
Yes,
okay.
You got to do the. His face all over it. That said, you kind of freak me out because he's actually so funny and he uses comedy to educate, which is also why I love following him. I laugh and I learn a lot. So.
Cool. And I also have just a clarification back to when you said posting 8 to 13 over 1,000, right?
Yeah.
So that's just Instagram.
Yes.
So if you're not sharing your posts from platform to platform, you still have to follow up with your Facebook strategy and your TikTok strategy and your whatever. So the 8 posts or the 13 posts are just for the one.
Yes, that said, I personally love repurposing. So don't get me wrong, what I will do, and often when I'm running people's social, I do this on my own social, I take the best posts, and I'll take the write-up and I'll take the media and I will then just like make edits to it so that it makes sense on LinkedIn, so it makes sense on Facebook, and I just repurpose it. So I'm not totally against repurposing, and I just make sure it's not posted anywhere near the same time frame. But no, you don't have to totally create original pieces of content only for the platform. There is a little bit of wiggle room to play. Great question. Thank you for clarifying, Nikki.
Thanks, Tim. How many people can we follow per day? Is there a limit on Instagram?
100. Yeah.
What are the first few things to do and focus on when we're just starting on Instagram?
Ooh, okay. How do I say this? Okay, first things first, set up your profile. So choose your name, choose your username. Make sure your username is the same for all social media platforms. That's a social media marketing best practice. You want the same username on all platforms. Add your profile picture, add your bio. First thing I would do is I would do 2 to 3 posts, full well knowing that I don't really follow anyone, no one follows me, but just so that there's something. And then I would go bananas following people. I would follow people, I would engage first. Then once I've done my few posts, just so there's something to look at when people come to my profile and I start engaging, then it becomes more back and forth where I follow people, I engage with them, and I post once in a while. Great question.
Awesome, thank you. Saskia sees a lot of clients that repost influencer posts to their feed. Is this good or bad? And I'm sure that goes with values and alignment and brand awareness.
Yeah, you've got to choose. I mean, on one hand, I want to say share content that you love and you think your followers will love. At the end of the day, though, is there someone who's not an influencer that you can share that content from? Because remember, influencers in particular, they make their money based on the number of eyeballs that see their content and based on the number of followers they have. So do you want to feed into that, like that gigantic brand, or do you want to feed into like something smaller or create something original? So neither good nor bad. Just think about like what's the means to the end? What is the end on that one?
Awesome, thank you.
So I think we're almost done here. There's about 4 minutes left. So if there's like one last burning question or a comment or something that you would love to get out right now, now's the time to do it. Otherwise, I think, you know what, Tim, I thank you for the last couple of months. You've been doing a bang up job on teaching people everything they need to know about social media and getting their business out. There is one last question. Look at that. Okay. So I'm here for a client who doesn't yet have an Instagram account yet. The registration said the Insta handles would be shared. Would my account be able to be shared? By all means, if you put when on registration, we asked you to all put your Instagram handles in, and we will share it with everyone who registered. So yes, Darby, put it here in the chat and we'll capture it in the chat. Just make sure it's to everyone or to Jordan, and we'll make sure that we get it. And then when we share it all, it'll be there for sure. So yeah, so pardon?
To everyone, because I can't save the ones just to me.
Oh, okay, sorry. To everyone, Darby, please. Yeah, so thank you. Tim, you're fabulous.
Oh, thank you.
So it's so much fun. So Tim is a mentor and industry specialist at Innovation Guelph. So if you are a client with us, you can ask about getting some access to working with Tim. Absolutely, we can discuss what that looks like at a later time. Just send Jordan or I an email and we'll talk about it. But next month, I just want to bring your attention to Toolkit Tuesday, January 19th. You see on your screen, it will be on Vidyard. And I know that Tim has been talking about it. There's been a plenty of questions and comments about Vidyard coming up over the last few months. So we contacted them and they're coming in person, and they're going to do a really great session, a very dynamic session in January to kind of wind together and tie up the whole social media kind of focus we've been having over the last little while. So there's all kinds of thank yous and mercies and hearts and everything else coming up in the chat right now for you, Tim. I hope everybody had a great time. Thank you so much for all your questions. We'll share social media information, including Tim's and Innovation Guelph's after this meeting when we have been able to edit up the video and package it all together for you. Okay? So everybody have a really great day. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Tim.